Well, let's get another voice on this. David Greenwood is a solicitor. He also campaigns, indeed is an executive member of the Minister and Clergy Sexual Abuse Survivors. That's known by the acronym MACSAS. David, welcome to our coverage. Thank you very much for joining us. Is Jane O'Zane right? Does the C of E need fundamental change?
I'm afraid it does. The structure of the church prevents decent safeguarding. The structure of the church is essentially that there are 41 bishops out there, little princes with their own kingdoms, doing what they like in their diocese, and no archbishop or chief executive, as we would have in an ordinary institution, can tell them what to do. So, faced with safeguarding allegations about something that's happened in their diocese, they can do what they like. I mean, they've got guidance. It's quite good guidance that the church set up a few years ago, as in response to some of the accusations made about it at the inquiry into child sexual abuse. But it's not necessarily the case that guidance is followed in every case.
Okay, that's interesting, because we heard yesterday, it's a bit of a sweeping generalisation, but actually at the diocesan level, at the individual church level, the changes actually instituted, brought in by Justin Welby, have worked well, and confidence that abuse cannot now take place was reasonably high. It was the managerial level, the institutional level that was a problem. Do you disagree with that then? You think there's still a problem down at the local church?
I do disagree, yes. Professor Alexis Jay, who was the former chair of the Independent Inquiry into Child Sexual Abuse, was commissioned by Justin Welby, who is a believer in independent oversight of safeguarding in the church. He commissioned her to delve into what had happened in various dioceses and parishes around the country, England and Wales, and she wrote a report early this year recommending the complete removal of safeguarding oversight from the church and putting it into an independent body. It might be that many of the same people working in safeguarding operations of dioceses are employed by that new body, but they need a separation from their bosses, the bishops, and the influential people in the diocese to ensure that they can just get on and do their jobs without interference.
And that will be a system that the suggestion has been around. It even predates the Megan report, as I understand it, hasn't it? That idea that you try and achieve this separation. Why do you think the centre has been so resistant to it or hasn't embraced that change?
Do you know, I really don't know. The stumbling block is the House of Bishops. And when it gets together, it is the most reactionary body, that I've ever come across.
Reactionary? Or they do nothing rather than react? Oh, tell me why you use the term reactionary, David.
Reactionary, what I mean is that they do as little as possible.
I see what you mean, yeah.
Yeah, they want to keep the status quo, essentially, and things change at a glacial pace with them. So if the House of Bishops were to decide that this needs doing, it could do it. But I'm afraid that the status quo prevails there. And there are discussions at synod level about a change to the constitution of the church, but that's a real it's a real big issue that will again need the House of Bishops' approval, and I really don't think it will happen. Models of
you
change.
paint quite understandably, perhaps, you paint a rather gloomy picture. Is it possible, do you think, that we're going to have a newcomer now? There's going to be another Archbishop of Canterbury, whoever he or she is. Can they change this? Could they change this, in your view?
Well, okay, so we shouldn't be here. Some of this should have been done years ago. I think Justin Welby actually is a decent person and learnt a lot in the last 10 years. Wouldn't today make the same mistake as he made in 2013. So to find someone more in favour of improvements in safeguarding, it could be done. But Justin Welby actually was moving in the right direction. Justin Welby should have used his power and influence to threaten to resign if the House of Bishops hadn't changed things. Now, whether someone coming in can exert enough influence over the current constitution of the Church of England, I don't know. I very much doubt it. It's impenetrable, and I don't see it happening anytime soon. I think it might be that a brave government decides, right, we've had enough of this. We're going to introduce some legislation which overrides your church legislation.
Interesting thought to conclude our conversation for today. David will speak again, I hope. David Greenwood, campaigner and executive member of this organisation, Minister and Clergy Sexual Abuse Survivors, or MAXAS. 9:39 is the time.